Welcome back to the show. The video clip you just watched is on TY's pet project for kids on special needs. Sorry, TY, why did you embark on this project?
Well, for two reasons. I believe that when God blesses you, you're also supposed to remember the people who are not as privileged as you are. And for the second reason why I chose Pacheli is because over the years, Pacheli has been known for their vibrant music lifestyle. You know, in terms of they've always been known as a school that's they are blind or visually impaired, but most of them play the music, one musical instrument or the other. And you have a lot of people even in the industry who has passed through Pacheli school. That caught my interest actually.
Okay, thank you. What are the challenges around the music industry? Because everybody has a challenge or the other, but around the music industry and entertainment generally.
I'll say structure.
Okay.
Yeah, because I love what I do. I enjoy what I do greatly, and I'm not really into it for the rewards. But at this level of in my life, whatever I'm spending time to do needs to pay my bills, and that's why I have a problem with the structure. In terms of there's no guaranteed success, there's no longevity. It's just about who is hot at the moment. If I'm no longer, if I stop making hit records, then that's the end. I don't make money again. Everything just goes down like that. And I think it's basically because we don't have structures in place to help you. No retirement plan, no health plan, there's nothing. It's just about what you can make at the moment when you're hot, and that's it.
Can you tell us some of these records that you see that are very hot in the industry?
That I produced?
Yes, that you produced.
Well, one of my major artists is Naeto C, and I produced probably 70 to 80% of all his records. Most of the hit records were produced by me, from Kini Big Deal to 10 over 10 to 5 and 6 to that. Also had the opportunity to work with a couple of corporates as well. Hennessy, I did a Hennessy artiste song for 2012. I've also done a couple of soundtracks for movies. The most recent is a movie produced by Shanye and directed by Tokwe Oshi.
Okay.
I did the soundtrack for the movie. The title of the movie is Journey to Self, and
I think it's premiering right now.
Yeah. It premiered on Wednesday, and just to mention a few.
Okay, some people say Abuja is not the best place to start your entertainment industry. Well, comparing it to Lagos, so considering the fact that you moved from Abuja to Lagos, has there been any serious kind of change?
Well, for starters, I think Lagos can be compared to New York. Whatever kind of business you run, you always want representation in Lagos, because Lagos is a commercial nerve of Nigeria, of the economy as far as I'm concerned, But in terms of creativity, you can be creative anywhere. You can do your business anywhere as a creative person. For me, the reason why I decided to not necessarily move to Lagos was because at a point in time in my career, I was working more in Lagos than Abuja.
Okay.
So it just made sense for me to have a workstation here in Lagos. So every time I'm in Lagos, I have a space to work, But I just discovered that the jobs are coming more in Lagos.
So you just
as a businessman, I stay where the money is. So that was automatic for me. But initially, for me, it wasn't like, move to Lagos, because Lagos is, Lagos is not meant for everybody.
Okay, so where do you see your business, because it's a business,
Yep.
in the next 5 years, 10, 20?
Well, my core values are, I'm a brand that wants to always add value to people. The core of my business is 3 E's: entertain, empower, and educate, really. So I see myself in 5 years having to have been able to impact a lot of young ones in the same industry, I believe that there's a right way of doing things, or there are right ways of doing things. Doing something wrong for 10 years does not make it right. So one of the things I see myself doing in 5 years is empowering younger ones, because it's an industry that is very attractive. Everybody, every 17-year-old boy is sagging his jeans and listening to music, and it's very trendy. So my kids are also going to go through the same process. I want a situation where we can raise role models, even in the industry. So 10, 20 years from now, we have people who can stand for what is right and what is true. That's where I see.
You spoke about kids. Sorry, do you have kids now?
No, I'm not even married.
I just wanted to find out. Okay, I'm sure the audience will want to ask a few questions. So,
my name is Austin. Now, sometimes people ask, or you say something, people say old school, and you find the old songs coming in to interfere with what is currently going on. Is it as a result of a lacuna or a gap somewhere that the older generation, baby boomers, they're not in tune with the current songs being written these days, or that it's just the way things? When I call back, most people enjoy old tunes than the new ones.
Music in itself is cultural. Music is our way of life. Someone asked me one time and said, why is it that our music, we talk about women, we talk about girls, I'm like, see, what people sing about is a reflection of the society. Because at the end of the day, you always sing about things that you see around you, things that you've experienced or things you've heard. So I think for the older generation, you connect more to songs that reminds you of when you were 17, of when you were 21, the parties you went to, the girls you toasted in your time and in your days, the excitement a new record brought, you connect to those songs, not because the songs are fantastic, but because there are stories behind that song. And I think for the new generation as well, which I happen to fall into, so many of us, the only way we connect back to our roots is through music. Someone like me, for instance, I'm Yoruba, but I started to learn how to speak Yoruba as an adult. There's so many things about my own cultural values I do not know because of the way we were raised. So for me and so many people in my own generation, the only way you get back to your roots is through music. When you listen to the Ebenezer Obeys, when you listen to the Sonia Days, and the things they say, you might not understand it, but you have an idea of this is how it's been. So I feel really and truly, the blend is necessary. To be honest, the blend is necessary to be able to pass a generational message across, to be able to preserve our culture. Hip hop is borrowed. Other genres are borrowed, but you see, we have our own sound in Africa that's, we pass from generation to generation. So I feel bridging that gap is very important, and another thing I would like to say is music is dynamic. The sounds that were being appreciated 10 years ago is different from what is being appreciated now. But I think, in as much as it's dynamic, the messages are still the same. The vibe, the feeling, are still the same, basically.
Most times, I produce a track for someone, and then that's it. They pay me, and then that's it. There's nothing like royalties or anything. So I'd like to ask how you lay claim to your material, especially in cases where you're the one that comes up with the main idea of the song. My second question is, we were told once in the class here that to be called a professional in anything you're doing, you need certification. Well, most of what I learned was through the internet or through friends or trial and error. I want to ask if it's necessary for me to get certification.
Because we don't have structures, like I said earlier on, there's no longevity in the business. We don't have a structure in place whereby you can get royalties off songs produced. As a young producer and as a new producer, what I would advise is try as much as possible to work as much as you can, get the necessary attention, let people know that you can do it and you're good at what you're doing before you start making demands for this market, because that's how the industry is right now. So I'll say, okay, yeah, lay your hands on as many materials you can work on or work with, as many artists you can work with. Just what you need to do is push your name out there For me, yes, I'm going through the same thing, but on a different level. You charge somebody 20,000 naira or 30,000 naira to produce a track. I'll probably charge times 10 of that to produce that same track. You understand what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to do is make as much money as I can and move on. Basically, up until the point where we have a proper structure in place where you can make money over a long period of time. Then to answer your second question, I believe so much that whatever you do in life, you need to learn about it. Getting certified or getting educated is might not necessarily mean going to a university to study that. But trust me, technical knowledge goes a long way to defend what you're doing. Yes, you get to a point where you do try and error, but you also get to a point where you need to know what you're doing. You don't have time. You can't put a lot of people, a lot of things at risk by doing try and error. You get to a point where you know that, okay, I can drive. So I enter the car and I drive. Not, okay, let me try it. You have people in the car. You know, you're not the only road user. So it's the same thing with music production. You need to get to a level where you understand what you're doing. You know, it's not try and error. Creativity comes in, but there are basic principles that are being taught that you need to know. You need to understand sound, you need to understand frequencies, you need to understand a lot of things. They're sciences, basically. So I'll say for every producer, learn the technical bits. You might not need it now, but when it's time to use it, you know what you're doing. I think it stands you out, basically.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, on behalf of our team, we'd like to present to you this lovely shirt.
This is quite interesting because I think this is my logo.
Yes.
It's quite interesting. Oh, so, nice.
Okay. And for those of you that don't know, my logo is actually a tuning fork. You know, in science, a tuning fork is meant to tune. I think the tuning fork has a perfect 440 hertz or kilohertz in terms of frequency. It's perfect. So they use that to tune the piano. And every other instrument is tuned from the piano. So I see my brand as that brand that is in tune. And that's why.
Okay,
so thank you very much.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming. Our lecturer, Mr. Austin, my group members, Ibukun, Faith, Joy, Caroline, and my other group too. And also everyone in class for being here. God bless you all. Thank you.